Marvin hasn't seen a goddamn thing, folks. Once per month, Dusty and I take turns picking a movie that he hasn't seen that we think he definitely should have. Today was my pick. Before Bong Joon-ho's global fame after Parasite and its unprecedented success, there was Memories of Murder, his second feature film. This is placed firmly on my Mount Rushmore of all-time favorite movies. It's also widely regarded as one of the greatest films of the 20th century. It stars Song Kang-ho and Kim Sang-kwang, probably mispronounced that, and I apologize, as detectives Park Do-man and Sao Tae-yoon, who lead an investigation into a string of rapes and murders taking place in Hwasong in the late 1980s. And this is actually based on the real Hwasong serial murder case that shook Korea in the 80s.
Oh, man, this was really good. I love when a movie makes me nostalgic of a time and place that I've never experienced. Like for me, that's the telling of a very good setting and atmosphere, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The movie was like almost too good at switching between being very serious and the comedy. I thought it was fantastic. It was really good.
Awesome. Yeah. Tonally and like the genre and the style, it doesn't really fit neatly into like really one genre. Like it mixes the crime thriller with dark comedy and drama and tragedy. And sometimes it feels playful, like especially the scene towards the beginning when he like drop kicks the other detective when he thinks he's like...
A lot of drop kicks.
Yeah, there's a lot of drop kicks. It goes from playful to being like suddenly like brutal and bleak. And so the way that...
Yeah, for sure.
The way that Bong uses tone in the movie is brilliant.
During the scene where they're discussing the third victim, it was so good because it was like a slow pan to focus on the chief and Detective So while cutting out the other two. And then it goes back to the chief and the other two. And the chief was in the middle of the whole time. And it's like, just reminded me of like this whole like angel devil on your shoulder thing. Like it was really nice.
He keeps the viewers off balance. It goes from like funny at first and then like the scene where he like he'll like slip in the mud or something like that. And then it later becomes like a haunting scene. And really the overall...
It's crazy.
Yeah, despite all like the emotional shifts and like the tonal shifts, it still remains like overall like a haunting movie. That's the best way to like...
Oh, for sure.
Describe it. And the shots that you're talking about, he uses a lot of like long shots and stuff like that that really convey this like sense of desperation and stuff.
I love a good Korean flick. There's so many good ones. But this one is amazing. It conveys a very good job of reality in that reality is messy and reality is sometimes funny and bleak all at the same time or at, quite quick instances. So it does a really good job of just portraying humanity in general. But yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I agree.
A little slow at times, but great movie.
The cinematography and atmosphere that, we're all kind of talking about, and you specifically with like the fluid camera movements, right? Very subtle but powerful. And rural Korea like this is muddy and wet and it's wide open and it reflects like the sort of confusion and like the futility. There's like a repetition in certain shots, like the railroad tracks and the fields and the interrogation room. It again conveys that sense of desperation. We've watched a couple of movies in the past where I've said this, where like the setting is almost like a character. In this movie, like the rice field is almost a character of the movie, and a very powerful one at that. Like it's just super effective.
It has so many funny moments. It's insane, actually. Like the main cop main detective Park, doing so much shady shit.
Yeah, he's great.
And then he bought the kid the fake Nikes with the Velcro straps. And Detective So's like, these are not N-I-C-E, not N-I-K-E. It was so good, man. At first I was thinking like, holy shit, the two main detectives are like Dumb and Dumber, truly. But really, I think Detective Park was pretty smart. But he was so used to dealing with smaller things, and they had never experienced anything like this before. So it was probably just a lot of shock for him.
And you really get the ineptness of the small town when every time you visit a crime scene, they can't keep it clean.
That was so funny.
He's like, fuck it, I'm going to make my own shoe print and take a picture of it because
they
fucked it up. We actually had it.
And doesn't actually think anything of it because he's like, well, I think this is the guy. So let me just like...
That's it. Let me just,
do the steps necessary to just arrive at that, like the way I have to. But the performances between these two guys are awesome. And that's really what sells the things that we're talking about, especially what you said, Dusty, with the, like, you called it like the chaos. You said it was like chaotic and like the realness of what life is, and like the Detective Park, like he's he's like aggressive and reactive and sloppy and all this stuff, and he kind of detects with like intuition, which is obviously not how you do good police work.
Look into my eyes.
Yeah, and he also has like a borderline superstition, which is like comic relief at first, but it actually turns to tragedy by the end. A Detective Sal or Sal, I don't know how you pronounce it, but so he's like okay, he's like the big city cop who's like methodical and educated and disciplined, and he represents like that order and logic, but ultimately, breaks down.
Too close to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if it's printed right here on the paper, it has to be true. Like the T's are dotted and the I's are crossed type of guy.
Over the course of the film, Park becomes more introspective and so loses control. And in that way, it really sort of sells what the overall concept of the movie is. And that is what Dusty said. It breaks away from like the standard tropes of movies like this, like thrillers and murder mysteries like Seven and Zodiac and other movies. This genre typically glorifies either the killer or the detectives. And when I say glorifies, they don't like celebrate murder, but like those movies are built around like the either horror or suspense or the thriller aspects of the murderer or like the detecting of the detectives. This movie is a much more realistic, I think, take on the genre because these people are imperfect. The case is messy. It's unsolved. Like the movie ends without really any sort of satisfying climax or anything like that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the breakthrough points of the case. Like when they discovered like, oh shit, this is actually a serial killer. He kills when it's rainy nights. And then, he kills everyone that's wearing red. And then they found out that all the murders took place when a certain song is requested. And there's many more, but the progression was all really good. And it felt almost rewarding as a viewer because they got stuck a lot. And then when they had that breakthrough, it was like, okay, this is good. We're gonna actually get to and they did a good job of setting you up to think like, okay, we're gonna really get some closure. And then you don't really get that closure. Right. But it still felt pretty good as a viewer, I think.
Totally. They're not experienced in this. So
no, they don't even have technology for this shit.
Yeah, it's and as I said, it's based on a real set of serial murders. It was 10 women that were murdered between 1986 and 1991, and these were the first known serial killings in South Korea, like in total. So
it's crazy.
It's not just the fact that it was like these guys are kind of like rural and stupid, which let's face it, they are
to an extent, yeah.
But like this is the first time that anybody's ever dealt with something like this,
right? Exactly. Not for lack of trying.
Sometimes it felt a little bit over pushed and somewhat frustrating for me. And that's where I got the pacing thing. It was like, okay, he's calling into the radio station to request a song. You've already fought through the card was already thrown away. But that song specifically, anytime somebody requests that, like somebody gets murdered and the next time it happens, you have to jump through all the same hoops.
Right.
Because they don't know that that's the killer's song because you've already went down to the thing and made a big deal about it. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it feels like they called in and did it. Like next time they request a song, make sure you fucking keep it. Like whoever's writing it down, it's got to be the same person because it's a small town. So like that sort of ineptness felt a little faked to me and frustrating, but I get like the point of it, I guess.
I think what's really cool about this movie is that Bong Joon-ho, when he made it, because it is unsolved, he had to like imagine closure without answers, right? And again, in normal movies like this, you have closure. The case is ended. It's done. Whatever happens, happens. He didn't really have a choice in this case. He had to make like sort of this ambiguous ending, which I thought again adds to the real world weight of the movie that was throughout, because it just makes it feel real and like sort of lived in, which I mean it is because it's based on reality.
I felt that the ending was like really insane, knowing that the guy was still out there when the movie goes off, and it's like, because he goes back to visit the spot years later, and the little girl, he asks her what she looks like, and she's like, she looks normal, nothing ordinary. He looks like an ordinary guy, and then it just makes you think like, yeah, it could be, your freaking mailman, your whatever, like it could be anyone. And he was still out there at that time. That had to be like kind of scary for people in Korea watching that at the time.
Oh, hell yeah. I bet you if you asked, I bet you that David Fincher took inspiration from this movie when he made Zodiac in 2007.
Oh, yeah.
Because Zodiac was another unsolved case when that movie came out. And at the end of Zodiac, it's that same feeling where like he's still out there all these years later. And I remember the first time I watched Zodiac, it was one of those movies that like I didn't get around to right away. I watched it at home, like, I don't know, years after it had come out. And it was like late at night when I finished. It was like 4:30 in the morning. I went outside for a smoke afterwards, and I was sitting outside. It was silent, and I was like, damn, I'm fucking creeped out. Like, I know this movie wasn't like supposed to be a horror movie, but I'm creeped the fuck out that this guy could be my neighbor. Like, it's crazy. It's scary.
Bro.
And that's typically what it turns out to be with serial killers. It's like, oh, he was just a normal guy. I didn't fucking know anything about it. Like, it's just, yeah, it's creepy. People are fucking creepy. That final scene, though, with Park staring into the camera, it breaks the fourth wall without saying really anything, which is, I think, really cool.
Yeah.
And it like speaks to you and leaves you with that like lingering, just fucking unease about it.
I was already fucked up by that moment of despair, like when they find the young schoolgirl's body, and Park and they just walk past each other in complete silence, just like,
yep, like we're
supposed to have him. We're supposed to have him already. Like,
yeah.
And then it was still inconclusive though that it was even the guy that they thought it was. So it's like, it's like fighting against the freaking universe almost. Like you can't win that battle because you don't even.
Yeah.
They weren't even sure. Like they were so sure, but it was like still like not completely him.
The closing line that you mentioned, he looked normal. Oh, he looked ordinary rather. It really speaks to like the banality of evil and how just straight up ordinary it is. Like it's nothing crazy. Like we talked about horror killers earlier, like Michael Myers, Jay's like, no, real evil is like way more terrifying because it is just plainly normal. And the killer could be everyone, maybe even watching the movie.
I felt extremely bad when Gwang-ho died. That was the guy with the burns and the burn. It was like the total opposite of some movies when we complain that we don't care about anyone. I really felt for this too. I really felt for like everyone, even like the little schoolgirls that you don't even see much of. But it was like totally opposite from what we've seen in some movies where you don't care about any character at all.
And that's why the movie really holds up, because it's masterfully done in blending those tones and themes and visual storytelling. It doesn't rely on the tropes. Like I said, it ends messy. It's unresolved. It's realistic. And it's like a rare crime film that doesn't like overblow the detectives and all this stuff where like they're the icons of the whole thing. And it's very understated in terms of it's like a simple movie. It's like very like Dusty talked about the pacing, but like that's like purposefully done, and it's like super haunting. You could look now at Bong Joon-ho's like later works and see this movie as the foundational piece for it, because like Parasite, which we talked about, his arguably most famous movie now, is about class divide and institutional failure and emotional decay, and this movie is very much in a similar vein, just sort of explored a little bit differently.
The last thing I'll say about this, they just did a good job of tying in the really like funny stuff, like you said earlier with the slip, to like very serious moments in the movie too. Like Park had this theory about the guy being shaved. Yeah, like he had his pubes were shaved, right? And the chief asked Detective Park, like, how do you investigate? Do you take the pants, takes off the pants of men passing by? And then they cuts to him watching dudes at the sauna.
right.
And then when they catch the dude with the red panties, that's basically how he found him in the construction site. Like that was hilarious, but it was like a very important part.
So the case actually was solved in 2019 after all these years. Incredibly, the real Hwaseng serial murder case that inspired this movie was actually solved. It was 16 years after the movie came out. He was the actual killer. He was already in prison for the 1994 rape and murder of his sister-in-law. And DNA evidence finally linked him to at least 9 of the 10 murders depicted in the movie. He confessed to 14 murders in total, including one not previously attributed to the case.
Wow.
Now, unfortunately, the South Korean statute of limitations meant he couldn't be prosecuted for most of them, but the confession still gave long overdue closure. And within the context of the movie, Bong Joon-ho has said he doesn't plan to revise the movie because it was always about the feeling of uncertainty and failure more than the case itself. The ending where Park looking into the camera hits even harder now because it becomes like a time capsule of a moment when nobody knew who did it.
Yeah.
This is a movie that sits with you, honestly. I've rewatched this movie dozens and dozens of times. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. And I think it'll probably always remain in my top 5. It's just fantastic. I love everything about it. I can't think of one bad thing. It got an 8.1 on IMDb, which is incredibly high. Like I said, it's widely regarded as one of the best films of the 20th century, but this is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, this is an easy 10.
Ooh.
He is also alive, by the way. He's in prison for life, but he is alive.
I think he could do parole after 25 years.
Oh, wow.
It gets an 8 from me.
8?
Stays where it gets an 8.
Not a perfect. Bong Joon-ho is a destroyer. One of the best living filmmakers there is. And I'm very excited to watch Mickey 17. Unfortunately, haven't been able to get out to the theater to see it, despite the probably ridiculous reviews it's gotten. I'm sure it's great. I don't think all his movies I haven't seen a bad movie he's done. So